Hello and welcome to this week's GG Weekend Watch, kindly sponsored by SBK, with your usual team of Daryl Carter, Andrew Mount, and myself to guide you through this weekend's racing. And it is on. The Clash of the Titans is on. SHISHKIN versus Energumene. Who said January was dull? I cannot wait for this. I personally can't split them, so I can't wait to hear what the lads think about both of those horses' chances at Ascot in the Grade 1 Clarence House Chase, of course. But we have plenty of other races to cover from Ascot and Haydock as well. So I'm just going to quickly run through our winners from last week, and then we're going to kick straight into it. So last week, the lads did very well. They had Mr. Fisher, Andrew trying to put the mockers on a Daryl's selection in that race, and it actually paid off because he won at 15-8. So very well done, Andrew there. Eclair Surf at 11-1 for Daryl, and then we also had Crazy Paving at 9-4 for Andrew as well. So the lads both doing very well. Then last week, hopefully more of that this week. So we're going to kick off with the 145 at Ascot. This is a handicap hurdle for 4-year odds and over 2 mile 3. Pretty open looking contest. Now I'm getting in here before Andrew this week, so he doesn't copy me without knowing what I'm picking and going first.
You're going to go for an unexpected party.
I'm going to get, pardon?
Unexpected party?
No, it's not.
Oh.
We take you. Oh no! Don't try. No, don't get in there first. I'm deliberately doing this, Mr. Mount. No, it doesn't even work anyway because I'm going Garry Clermont, and it's actually I'm going to get my nap out of the way very quickly today. Garry Clermont at 7-2 at the time of recording to hopefully get his rewards for his 2 latest place efforts over just shy of 2 miles at this track. He should have won his penultimate start, but for there being no stride at the last, he lost momentum. He lost out by 3/4 of a length to the rallying Captain Morgs. Then he ran a cracker last time out in the Grade 3 handicap hurdle, where he was aided by being ridden with restraint, but still did best of those closer to the inside rail without being on the inner rail, and stayed on very strongly after being outpaced to get third. So hopefully step back up in trip will suit him and he can get his rewards finally. So that's my selection anyway. Andrew, you're not copying me then this week?
No, I didn't like this race in particular. You make a great case for Garry Clermont. And what's interesting, of course, is that since he's run here at Ascot the last twice, his RPRs have gone through the roof. You know, his previous best was 139. Those last 2 runs, 145, 148. He's actually dropping down in grade here as well slightly, isn't he, from that Grade 3 handicap hurdle back to a Class 2 race. And I thought he had obvious claims. Unexpected Party is the one I thought people would expect me to tip, having gone for him the last couple of times. But I was a little disappointed that he couldn't hold on at Wetherby, and I don't like Dan Skelton runners on Saturdays in January. They generally underperform. It's sort of post flu jab, and at 9-2 I can leave him alone. Cateson I thought had an each way chance. He was third in this race last year, and I thought if you're looking for one to add perhaps to your Garry Clermont in the place pot, maybe Cateson. And the one I'm going to put up is a very tentative one, though, is SKANDIBURG, who's very well handicapped now. Since joining Charlotte Fuller. There was more promise in that last run at Taunton. The stable debut behind Dolphin Square at Cheltenham. That was in November. And then last time out, I thought it was an odd move, a slightly odd move, sort of drop into that trip on a sharp course. There's definitely a race to be won with SKANDIBURG. Whether it's this one or not, I don't know, but that's another one to keep your eye on. So I'll go SKANDIBURG, 50 pence each way. The 5 you're giving me for the bet, I'll put another £4 in my pocket. So 2 lottery tickets.
No, it didn't take long. It didn't take long for that to have been mentioned. And SKANDIBURG.
Weekend watch bingo.
At 33-1 for Andrew, the outsider of a lot, and you just went a bit topsy-turvy there, Andrew, so hopefully you're back level again and stop doing handstands now. So I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Somebody phoned me and my phone went a bit
that'll be it then. Well, this time in the morning no one should be contacting you apart from us. So I'm happy you didn't answer them. Daryl, your assessment of this first race, please.
I thought Andy fell over.
Daryl's face went like this.
It's only Diet Coke, I'm not on the beer.
Not yet.
Give it an hour.
Yeah, I really, really like Garry Clermont for this. I think I agree with you. I think the step up and trip is definitely going to suit him. I thought he was one of the stronger bets of the day for me. I thought it was a cracking run last time in the Betfair Exchange. He actually did the best of those ridden prominently as well. So I thought it was a magnificent effort. He's improving all the time. Like Andrew said, his figures are going through the roof every time he tends to run. I thought he was a good bet here down in grade. like you say, can get his just rewards. I was just going to have a saver though. It wasn't going to be like a nap of the day. I was just going to have a saver on N'Golo for Anne Duffield.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this was former grade 3 novice winner, wasn't he, for Willie Mullins? I just think he showed quite a bit at Haydock. I thought he was better than the bare result, beating 13 lengths. That was in first time cheek pieces. They come off today. But I just thought he was forced about 6 wide around the bend at Haydock, and he was just sticking on really nicely until he made a mistake at 2 out, and then it just looked like he needed the run. Now, I don't know whether that's just because he changed of stable, changed of scenery. Perhaps he's not done as much as he would normally have done. That came after 69 days off. I just thought it shaped like a performance that he was going to improve upon. Prior to that, he had been on the flat for 3 runs, and then he was running in a Grade 1 at Punchestown last year behind Gaillard de Medsnil. And I know that's not really worked out too well, that form, but he was still thought of enough to go into Grade 1 company. They stuck him in the Albert Bartlett last year, but I think that was just a roll of the dice because he was probably out of form at the time. He'd run poorly twice behind Appreciate It twice before that. I think this is a much lesser contest. The handicap has been quite quick to relent. He's down to a mark of 135. Kevin Brogan takes off 3. I just think he's could take a step forward from that run. So he was about 14 to 1 shot, I think. So I just wanted to have a cover bet on him. But I do think Garry Clermont's the most likely winner. I'd like 4 to 1 on Garry Clermont. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
7 to 2 is okay, but I wouldn't be going much shorter than that. Yeah, I thought it was a good race. I'm going to back the pair of them and hope for the best because my luck this week, actually, for the last 2 weeks, if you've been following me, I've got to apologise because it's been absolutely woeful. I had one beat at 101 in running yesterday.
Oh, never apologise. It's variance. You can't win every day. It's a long game.
Yeah, I know, but to be fair, I've probably made a few mistakes as well. That I've realised afterwards. So. Beating both of the others, but it will turn around. Hopefully, we can get a couple of winners at Lingfield today, and then tomorrow, Garry Clermont goes in. I'll be happy. If N'Golo goes in, I'll be even happier. So
it always turns around. It always turns around as long as you are consistent with that. And Daryl, I think you're being very harsh on yourself there. Anyone who does follow you will appreciate the tips that you've put up over the years. So yeah, I don't think that that's anything wrong with your assessments whatsoever. And fascinating with N'Golo then, hopefully to give you another ex-Willie Mullins big price British hurdle winner. I thought you was going to say
another X on the board.
Not at all. After Kashari, if N'Golo goes in as well, then sure you can trade him on after Mullins's. Yeah, we'll see anyway. But I'm glad that you give a good mention then for Garry Clermont to back me up there with my nap anyway. I appreciate that. So we'll go on to the 220 at Ascot. This is our first graded race of the day in the form of the Grade 2 Warfield Mares Hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 miles, 7.5 furlongs, where Molly Ollie's Wishes currently heads the betting. So, Daryl, back to you, please. Lots of likeable mares in here. Of course, who do you side with?
Yeah, this is really, really tricky. Molly Ollie's Wishes is very interesting at the top of the market. She's got a fantastic record in mares only company. She needs to bounce back from a below par run behind Buzz over, here at Ascot last time. Harry Skelton's back on board. I don't know what her trip is, really. She won at Kempton over 3 miles, beating an Impressive Lady who's a 14 to 1 shot in here, but that was a really slowly run race. It was a handicap for mark 130. She was obviously much better than that. So I don't know. Wouldn't want to back her at 2 to 1. She could well be the most likely winner, but I don't know. I don't really like horses that can win quite impressively over 2 miles and then be backing them over 3 miles. I don't know. Something just doesn't sit right with me. Western Victory's very interesting. She's the form horse over My Sister Sarah of the two. Or she was a former Irish runner. She's now with Emma Lavelle. But that stable switch for a mare just worries me a little bit. She's never been over to England to race, I don't think. So I think that's just a slight concern. She's obviously going to go from the front and make it a true test. Now she can go a good clip. But, I just think there's enough worries about the switch to Emma Lavelle. Not that Emma Lavelle is a lesser trainer than the one she was with, but just because she's a mare, it's a change of scenery coming up. You know what I mean? So
I totally get it.
Yeah, I came down on the side of Anything for Love for Jamie Snowden. I thought 10 to 1-ish was a fair enough price. I think this horse is better than the handicap mark of 136. So I don't think she's got too much to find on ratings in this particular Grade 2 contest. I thought she stuck on really well at Sandown in what was the most bottomless ground we've seen at Sandown for the last 10 years behind Martello Sky. Martello Sky is a useful yardstick, I think. And I think the step back up to 3 miles, for which she was a really ready winner at Fosslas the time before by 7 lengths, was in her favour. She's unexposed at the trip. She's an improving young horse. I thought there was a good bit to like about her around 10-1.
Yeah, definitely. Anything for Love then in a tricky race around 10-1 for Jamie Snowden for Daryl. Andrew, how do you assess this grade 2, please?
Yeah, Anything for Love would be an appropriate winner, given the sad news that Meatloaf has passed away today. But yeah, I was going to go with another one at a big price, which is Impressive Lady for the Sue Gardner yard. Now, I know she'd be getting a lot more weight were this a handicap, but she always needs her first run of the season. And after that, she's very hard to beat when she's gone right-handed. 4 runs under those conditions, 3 wins, and a second to Molly's Ollie's Wishes at Kempton, when perhaps not given the most inspired Lucy Gardner ride, going down by a couple of lengths, pulling well clear of the third. So although, in terms of just ratings and saying, if there's a handicap, she'll be getting a lot more weight, we know it doesn't always transpire like that, and particularly in sort of small field tactical affairs in mares only races. I just thought of the prices 20-1, given her love for going right-handed, given the fact that she tends to challenge, like to come late and wide as well. Hopefully Jamie Moore will have her down that near side rail in the closing stages. And with the doubts about Dan Skelton's, January runners, particularly on Saturdays, given the post-flu jab scenario, maybe Molly's Ollie's Wishes will be vulnerable, and we can get a few quid out of Impressive Lady here.
Yeah, for sure. So 20-1 again, the outsider of the field. So yeah, Andrew is going rogue so far on this podcast this week for Impressive Lady. But as you say, that would be a very fitting winner then for Anything for Love, because as you say, the news broke an hour ago for us that Meatloaf passed away. So very sad news. But both of the lads, they're going for big priced horses in that grade 2 contest at Ascot at 220. The 225, we have a fascinating handicap chase for 5-year-olds and over 2 mile 5, where Fanion Destraval bids to give away a lot of weight to some very smart performers who come here in good order as well. So Andrew, can little Fanion post a weight carrying winning performance here?
Yeah, this is another fascinating but tricky one, really, isn't it? I mean, Amour de Nuit is a horse we all liked when he won at Musselburgh last time, although at the prices I ended up going off him and backing something else in the race foolishly. And after that win, it took his record in fields of 6 or fewer runners to 10 wins from 15 starts. So we're not far away from his cut-off point here, and a non-runner or two would be particularly welcome. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go well at a price. Night in Dubai is one I tipped up last time out because he loves the mud, but I'm just thinking it might be drying out a bit too much for him. And I was a little bit disappointed by his finishing effort last time. He was the early mover when the betting opened for this, but that seems to have dried up again since. Killer Clown won well last time out at Wincanton, but I was just worried this track might be a bit too stiff. He does like going in this direction, but then you look at his record at Sandown and Exeter, not particularly great in terms of finishing effort compared to Kempton and Wincanton, where he won last time. Seems to be suited by a flatter track. So Ascot, not as stiff as Sandown and Exeter, somewhere in between. I think if you're back in Killer Clown, perhaps you've missed the wedding. You're showing up for the funeral now if you weren't on it with Wincanton. So that would be the concern. I mean, Phoenix Way goes well when fresh. Dropped back from 3 miles. Will suit. I thought he had an obvious chance, as did the other JP McManus owned horse. So yeah, I was struggling. I thought I'd side with the McManus horses, and at the prices, Phoenix Way is the bigger of the pair. So I'll go with him. But it's another very tricky one, and that would be a tentative pick.
Yeah, around 11-2 then for Phoenix Way for what looks as though it's going to be the second JP colours, but don't make of that what you will. It's just one of those things. So Daryl, tricky but likeable races. How do you look at it?
Very similar to Andrew, actually. I had the 2 JP horses on the shortlist along with Fanion Destraval. I do think that Fanion Destraval has been underestimated a little bit in this market because Lucy Turner's on board. I mean, she's claiming 7 off him. He's only a pound higher than when dotting up at Newbury last time.
Yeah, she's a good rider as well.
She is a good rider, yeah, and I think that that's been underestimated here. I think if you look at this race straight off the bat, you say, God, he's got to give away loads of weight to everything else. But £7 is a huge help. She's a decent rider. He's just turned 7. He's fast on the upgrade. He's unexposed at the trip. He's effectively off a mark of 152. I think that's fair. I mean, you wouldn't want to see him in a handicap again after this, but if he goes further up the ratings. But I do think they played a blinder by putting Lucy Turner on here. I know there's some unexposed horses improving in the field, but I just thought 5-1 was quite big for the classy horse in the field. He's undoubtedly got the strongest form in this particular race. He goes well here at Ascot. The trip, the ground will be fine. Yeah, and he's arriving on the back of what was a career best when he carried top weight to victory at Newbury, and what was not much of a different race. This he had more than a week behind. He had Phoenix Way behind that day. So yeah, I couldn't really get away from him. I can see the angle with Palmer's Hill, the slight drop back and trip. The slight step up and trip will definitely suit him. The slight drop back and trip for Phoenix Way will definitely suit. But I just wanted to stick with Fanion D'Estrevale here. I don't know. I think it's the jockey factor. That's. I mean, if Charlie Deutsch was on board, I bet it'd be shorter than this, even without the £7 claim. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Fanion D'Estrevale.
You know what, I'm actually delighted about that because I want to see how you both assess this race, because I wrote about this race yesterday, obviously, for the weekend column, and I've tipped up Fanion D'Estrevale because of all the reasons you've just said, Andrew, and because Lucy Turner, I'm actually more keen, don't get me wrong, not on, sort of Charlie Deutsch is a fantastic jockey, evidently, but because of a £7 claim that Lucy Turner is now taking off of Fanion D'Estrevale's back, that sees him on a pretty feasible mark for this race. He's also a 7-year-old. This race has gone to a 7-year-old in the last 3 of the 4 runnings, to Domaine de Lille's surname and acting last. Dasher Drasher won off of a mark of 152 in this race last year. So with the £7 claim, takes him down to 152. I think if you are of the class horse in this race, a mark in the low 150s, taking claims into account, is more than feasible to overcome. So yeah, I know he's a little horse, and so he is having to give the weight away. But as you say, I think it's Venetia Williams has played an absolute blinder there by sticking Lucy Turner on Fanion's back. So I'm very pleased that you're also going with Fanion then, Daryl, because as I say, that is my second bet of the day. The 3:35. Here we go, sports fans. Here it is, the big one. Shishkin versus Energumene in the Grade 1 Clarence House Chase over 2 miles and 167 yards to be specific. I cannot wait for this. No racing fan should be able to wait for this. The Clash of the Titans. It's just hugely exciting. Mouth-watering battle in store between these 2 unbeaten chasers. But Daryl, someone's chasing O has to go. Who's going to win?
That's what I was going to say. Damn it. Golly, gosh, what a good race this is. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win. I'm not having a bet in the race. I'm just going to make sure that I have no distractions when I'm watching the race today. That's it. I mean, tactics are going to be key, aren't they? I thought First Flow might try and make the run in. I know Energumene has made the run on every single start, but I just thought that Kim Bailey might think that popping out and making all the running might just be the only sort of chance that they've got. I think if they go and sit in behind Energumene, he's not going to jump well enough to get close to him. So I thought he'd have to ping the first couple of flights and then try and make the run in. Energumene's got everything in his favour, hasn't he? Soft ground, right-handed track will definitely suit. Ascot will suit him, but he's never travelled outside of Ireland, has he? So that's a slight worry. We've seen that.
Yeah.
The likes of Chacon-Poursois travelled outside of Ireland, didn't show up. So it's interesting. I think Shishkin's rock solid. I mean, we need some bragging rights, don't we, over this side of the water? That's for sure. So I'm hoping Shishkin's going to do the business. But honestly, I don't have a bet in this. Just enjoy it and just take it for what it is. You're going to see rocking all shit more common than stuff like this. So I think it's a moment to savour and don't ruin it by having a bet. That's what I would say. But I mean,
I totally agree. I'm not touching this race. I don't want to have any bias in this race whatsoever. I just want to enjoy it for the spectacle that it is. But Andrew, are you going to ruin it with bias?
He's going to back First Flow.
Yeah, definitely.
A Moolah Gold, no. I mean, it is about the race, and I think I saw Daryl put something on Twitter. That First Flow and Amula Gold, both love the track, so they are there on their merits. But my God, they're going to struggle to beat the front two. And I love Shishkin. I think he's absolutely wonderful, and so I'm siding with him. He's never lost under rules when he's completed the course. He had that early fall over hurdles at Newbury, of course. And how lucky a winner was Marla's Promise that day, the one who benefited. And Energumen, again, he's only lost once under rules. That was his rules debut. That was left-handed at Navan and a bumper. And you just hope, there's no sort of late, not eating up, trodden a stone this morning, flight delayed, and they both get there, jump well. There's no sort of, when Energumen's, fallen at the first or, made a mistake and lost 20 lengths. You just want them to be there battling it out at the business end. And First Flow won't be disgraced, but I think this is all about Shishkin. I know he hit a flat spot in that Kempton comeback run, but he was in need of that, no doubt. And I think he's an absolute superstar, and I think he's going to win this.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I mean, as you say, I just hope that we get the race that we want. Like, say, there's no hard luck stories, no sort of major jumping errors or God forbid a fall or anything like that. I hope that, and I also hope that one of these doesn't win by 20 lengths and ruin the champion chase markets. Then,
if you were wanting to have an interest in, you could argue at 11 to 8 on is a very good price about Shishkin. But if you were going to give me a fiver, and I look forward to receiving it.
You'll be waiting a while, but yeah.
I'd go a straight forecast. Shishkin to beat First Flow. Which would pay quite well. And if the two of them get racing from a long way out, and Energumen doesn't take the travelling well, as Daryl said, first time out of Ireland, then maybe that one could disappoint, and you're left with First Flow to get second place. But it's a cracking race. I'm on the radio covering this tomorrow, and I can't wait.
Yeah, none of us can wait for this. If you're a racing fan, this is what you live for. So it is just hugely exciting and promoted away all we possibly can as well, because that clash is just wonderful. So anything else from Ascot? Andrew, I'll chuck it back to you, please, for anything else from Ascot.
No, not for me. Thank you, Kate.
Not at all. Daryl, yourself from Ascot, please?
No, not for me. Thank you, Kate.
No, not at all. We will move on then to our second meeting of the day at Haydock. Now we're going to start with the 125. This is the Grade 2 Supreme Trial, Rossington, Maine. Novices hurdle for 4-year-olds and over just shy of 2 miles, with Daryl's favourite horse, John Bond, currently heading the market. So Daryl, it makes sense for me to head back to you first for this race. Are you trying to get him beat on this occasion?
I'm fucking shitting myself is what I am. If it goes a bulk club, I'm going to look bloody stupid. No, just to reiterate my point on John Bond is that, I'm not saying he can't win the Supreme Novice Hurdle. I'm not saying he can't go and do these things. It's just that what he's achieved, I wouldn't, I don't think you can back him at 7-2 for the Supreme. That's all. This is going to be a good test, I think. Look, I'm glad we've got decent horses standing their ground, or potential in those horses that are standing their ground. My eye, of course, is second favourite. He'll give us a line through into Constitution Hill. I can't believe that he gave his run. If he gave his running behind Constitution Hill, you kind of can't say that he's a 135 rated horse. So I don't know if he gave his running there. Back on a softer surface here today, I think he'll give his running. So hopefully, but he's not, for me, my eye is not, going to be going and winning like a Ballymore or anything like that. So Richmond Lake is interesting, and Donny Boy is interested as well as Lebowski. The reason is because 3 of these have made the running previously. So Lebowski went off and shot off last time to make all the running. He's 2 from 2 this season. He made all the running at Ayr and at Foss Last. So he's going to be ridden prominently. Donny Boy is the horse that I'm quite interested in. And I'm not just saying this because I want to take John Bond on because of what I've said previously, because I do think John Bond will win the race, but this is going to be a different test for him. It's probably going to be it's going to be the softest ground he's ever encountered. He's going to finally get a truly run race. So if there's any chinks in his armour, I think they're going to be exposed perhaps in this race. I just hope that other horses in the race just go and run their race rather than thinking that John Bond's in the race and trying to change tactics. So Donny Boy, if you go back and watch his run at Newcastle, I thought he was really quite impressive the way he careered away. And the time before at Kelso, he was very, very impressive. Nick Alexander actually said that he's right up there with the best that he's trained in terms of Lakeview Lad and who's the other horse? another horse he trained. But that would suggest he thinks he's, a 140 plus horse. And I was really, really impressed with him the way he kicked away. I've actually backed Donny Boy each way, anti-post at 20-1. Not anti-post, just after the decks came out, because I think he's the most likely to follow John Bon home. And I just think you're probably going to get you're getting 5-1 on the place there. I think that's a fair shout. I do think he's quite good, but John Bon, yeah, well, look, I don't know what really to say about him. He looks very, very impressive, doesn't he? Let's be honest. He looks very, very impressive in everything that he does. But just this will just actually see. You know what I mean? This would just be a confirmation that he is very good, or I didn't like that about him, or you can actually assess him a bit better rather than what he's done, because I think it's very difficult to assess him at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's really difficult to get a handle on him, and completely sort of polar opposite views on John Bon at this stage because of sort of the falsely run nature of the races he's been winning over.
Yeah, and all I've done is I've just taken the view. I've not. A lot of people have ran with the fact that he could be amazing, and all I'm doing is just taking the view that he might not be. So I don't want to get carried away and then find out he's not. Do you get what I mean? There's two, like you say, there's split people's opinions. Two ways people have gone. People have either ran away with him and said he's a supreme winner, or people have gone, look, I'm not going to get carried away. I want to see him do more. And that's where my standpoint is. I want to see him do more before. I know it sounds like I slag him off every time he turns up, but I just want to see him do more.
Yeah, that's it. It's the difference, isn't it, between assessing a horse on hope and expectation of what they might be and what they have literally shown without bringing emotional sort of bias into it, and that expectation is trying to assess exactly what they have done and just sort of curtailing it like that. And then, as you say, every horse has its price. Every horse has its price for the Supreme. And I know I give you stick about it, or I throw it to you an awful lot of time, but it all makes for fun anyway, doesn't it? It all makes for an entertaining sort of spectacle of exactly what to expect of a horse of this nature with this kind of a profile as well.
Any opportunity to throw me under the bus, you?
Yeah, exactly. Basically. Exactly. Just any chance I get for just jesting with people, I will happily take it. Andrew, do you side with John Bon, take him on? How do you play this race?
Yeah, if John Bon bolts up, I can say that Daryl Carter, I knew him before he'd gone at the game, But no, I mean, I'm very much in Daryl's camp regarding John Bon, and any horse like this who sort of tends to win impressively from a top yard at short prices in sort of bumpers and maiden hurdles. As a former bookmaker, you tend to, look to try to find reasons to get horses beat and take them on at short prices. And you think that, the hype machine was into overdrive after that Newbury bumper win, wasn't it? It helps that the horse is trained by Nicky Henderson, that he wears the JP McManus green and gold as well, because this one's going to go off shorter than it probably should next time out. If you follow, the Racing Post top speed figures, he's got a best figure of 36. Which is 30 spots below everything else, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, he keeps beating horses impressively, but the horses in behind him keep coming out and getting beat even further next time out. So could he be a superstar and potential Grade 1 Cheltenham Festival winner? Very possibly. We'll find out more today. But at 9-4 on, I'd much rather side with the Constitution Hill form, even though Mai Tai was well behind that one, and think that Constitution Hill is the much better horse, and that was an extremely good effort. So I'll go with Mai Tai here. The other one I want to give a favourable mention for is Lebowski, big horse, as you'd expect, and he went into the tracker after that short head second at Huntingdon on his racecourse debut, his rules debut, for Adrian Wintle, because he raced in the swamp on the inside. He didn't go on for that yard, but then since he joined Michael Scudamore, 2 impressive wins from 2 starts. Whether Haydock's going to be a bit sharp for him compared to Aaron Foss last, where he's won the last twice, but he's a horse with a real future. Although he's 25-1, I'll throw a couple of quid at him as well. But I'll be sort of having 80% of my stake on Mai Tai, 20% on Lebowski, and hoping that the John Bon bubble has burst.
Yeah, so both of the lads there obviously not wanting to back John Bon at 2-5, and if he wins, he goes and wins. But a few angles actually in there to for this race to take on John Bon. So favourable mentions for Donny Boy and Lebowski, as well as Mai Tai there for the lads. So
sorry, Kate. Do you think he'll drift? Do you think this? He's drifted, hasn't he? The last twice he's
What's he drifted from to?
He's 2 to 5. Do you think he'll drift out, or do you think he'll remain as solid at the top of the market?
I think he'll remain pretty solid, won't he? I can't imagine why he would drift out further. Or do you think that that is probably short enough price? I think that's probably where I'd have him, really. I can't imagine him sort of drifting out from there. Can you?
No, but I couldn't imagine him drifting out on hurdle debut either. But he did quite alarmingly, didn't he?
What time was that? Was that sort of before the off that he drifted out?
Yeah, it was on the lead up a couple of hours, I think, before the
off. Right, a couple of hours. So not just
but
before.
That's just another point to just touch on is that he is drifting. He has been drifting. It's not like people have kept lumping on him even at odds on because he's this certainty.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's enough of John Bond anyway. Sorry, Kate.
No, not at all. John Bond is one of the biggest talking horses of the entire horse population at the minute. So it is definitely worth it. But yeah, interesting then if he does start to drift out anymore, because I think that's probably a pretty fair price given the overall look of that race. Whether or not I back him at that price is an entirely other thing, but I thought that's probably where I'd really sit him at. So do pay attention to that. Do watch that. It's 2 to 5 currently, so do watch that as you're watching this back. The 2 o'clock then at Haydock, another grade 2 up next. So we move on from the Supreme Trial to the Champion Hurdle Trial in the new 1 hurdle for 4-year-olds and over the same trip as the Rossington Main, over just shy of 2 miles, with Tommy's Oscar a short price favourite. So Andrew, how do you play this race, please?
I thought the favourite would win. I put Hunter's Call up when he won first time out. He goes well fresh. He is a 12-year-old now though, and the race is going to be run to suit, admittedly, because you've got a couple of front runners here: Global Citizen, Navajo Pass in the first time blinkers. Hopefully those two will get at it from a long way out and set it up for one ridden a little bit more patiently. But Tommy's Oscar beat my Thibault or Thibault, who I love so much. He's running this afternoon actually.
Yeah, he is.
At Lingfield.
He's a decent price for that race as well, I thought.
That's right. I put him up as an each way bet at my columns.
Oh, same.
Surprisingly. But yeah, so Tommy's Oscar, I thought he'd win. He's very progressive. You could argue they've kind of been a bit naive with the way he's gone up through the ratings so quickly without sort of winning a big prize. And but he's 156 now. But if that's a true reflection of his ability, he should be winning this quite comfortably. So maybe if you want a short price double, Shishkin and Tommy's Oscar could be the way to go on Saturday.
Yeah, that actually would be a nice short price double then for the pair of those, Tommy's Oscar and Shishkin. So Tommy's Oscar to potentially prove that he's one of the best 2-mile hurdlers in this country yet again. Daryl, do you think so, or are you siding against him?
No, I'll be against him. I would.
Oh,
I don't think he's been the same horse as he is on good ground, on soft ground. And he's going to have soft ground conditions to deal with here today. I thought Hunter's Call was the bet in here. He's £6 better off for finishing in front of Tommy's Oscar when they met at Kelso behind the shunter. Now, the pair of those, they weren't really getting racing, but he still was ahead of him. And I thought his latest run in the international hurdle behind Guard Your Dreams, A Song for Someone, was easily the best form on offer in this race. I think Tommy's Oscar has been picking up races in the north, in Musselburgh races, and which are not that strong. They're not much to shout about. And I just think he's been forced up the handicap. Really, his Doncaster win prior to that, 3/4 of a length, I didn't think was that great. And I don't know. I'm not totally convinced. His last run on soft ground at Carlisle, he's been beaten 8 lengths by Bass Rock. I tracked that Bass Rock for a long time, and I mean he's okay, but he's not great. I thought taking him on, I thought Hunter's Call would have everything in his favour in terms of the pace of the race. The ground will be fine. Haydock should suit him, and I thought he had the best form in the race. So Hunter's Call for me. I just can't really believe Tommy's Oscar's rating of 156 at the moment, but time will tell.
It's probably more the nature of the 2-mile hurdling division in this country,
exactly.
That he is just being, as you say, sort of this real huge trajectory that he's getting up the ratings as much as anything else. But that will be telling then on Saturday in that race at Haydock. We're taking him on with Hunter's Call around 9 to 4. Now the 2:35. This is our final scheduled race. Actually, we've flown through today. This is the Peter Marsh Handicap Chase, which is a Grade 2 limited handicap chase for 5-year-olds and over 3 mile 1.5 furlongs, where Royal Pagaille bids to put up a true weight carrying performance in a handicap. Fair play to Venetia Williams for putting her horses into these handicaps, running off of top weight, as we said earlier on with Fanion Destreval. Things we just love to see. But I don't think he'll win this. I'm hoping that it will finally go Remastered's way. But I'm also having a saver on Empire Steel because they've both been my tips this season and they've both fell on their heads when going well at the time when I've tipped them up on those occasions. So I don't like to think of myself as a curse, but I surely can't keep putting these horses on the deck, can I, Daryl?
I hope so, because I think Royal Pagaille wins this, and I think he wins it really, really well. The difference between this top weight and Fanion Destreval's top weight over at Ascot is that Fanion Destreval is probably up against more progressive horses, whereas Royal Pagaille, for me, is not up against many progressive horses. Perhaps Empire of Steel and the Remastered, the two you mentioned, but they are compensated for that in the second and third in the market. But I just thought Remastered just was what he was. He was comfortably beaten 10 lengths by On Guard at Haydock last time. I thought there was no real excuses for him there. Off a mark of 146, I think that's high enough for him. Royal Pagaille, he's just turned 8. He's another young, improving Venetia Williams horse. He absolutely bolted up in this race last year. If you go back and watch his Gold Cup run, he hit every single fence on the way round. I thought he did remarkably well to finish where he did. I know he's beaten 50 lengths, but finish 6th in a Gold Cup is no mean feat, especially at the age of 7. Then he goes to Haydock, and I thought he ran as well as can be expected after a break behind a Plutard in the Betfair Chase. I thought he did nothing wrong. That should set him up spot on for this. You know, look, 11.10 is the top weight in here, and he is against very much inferior rivals. And he's just the class act in the race who's still improving. He's got the ground in his favour, the track's in his favour. I really like him. I think he's got everything going for him again this year. And I think he will make it back-to-back wins.
Ooh, back-to-back wins then in this race off of what is it, £7 higher mark than for Royal Pagaille. But as you say, if he'd been carrying £7 more in this race last year, he would have won anyway, wouldn't he? So, I completely understand that. And of course, I'm nervous of him, but I'm just hoping that on this occasion, it's going to fall the way of horses with the lesser weight in this race with Remastered and Empire Steel. Andrew, are you siding with the class sort of act in the race, or how are you assessing this?
I wouldn't call Daryl the class in the race, but but I think he makes a good case for Royal Pagaille. You can see this one being hammered late and going off something like 6-4 or even shorter. I mean, he was hugely impressive last year. I wasn't massively keen on Remastered. I thought he had quite a hard race last time. Empire Steel, I mean, I think he was bidding to make it 3 seasonal debut wins out of 3 when he was second here on his comeback. Good to soft ground was probably too quick for him, and he still managed to trade odds on for his second. Fell off because of Weatherby, I think, when you and I both liked him next time, Kate.
Yep.
So I would have a saver on Empire Steel, but I might just throw a few quid each way at Sam's Adventure, who tends to be fairly useless before the turn of the new year. But when he's racing from January to March, I think it's something like 6 wins out of 12 now. Let me just bear with me while I check my stats. And so January to March, Sam's Adventure, 6 wins from 12. He's 18-1. Maybe a firm or two are offering some extra places, so I'll just throw my £2.50 each way at him.
Yeah, it's Sam's Adventure then as the outsider of the lot.
I mean, he ran in the race last year. Was he 11-4 to beat Royal Pagaille in this race last year, I think? So.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, 11-4 and unseated. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, obviously, he didn't, get near him. But I just thought at the prices now, he's obviously been aimed at the race again. Then maybe he could be a 30-length second to Royal Pagaille, but we still get paid.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that the other Sam in this race, Sam Brown, was potentially interesting. I might have just liked to have seen him once more out this season rather than just that sole start in the Many Clouds Chase.
Does he stay 3 miles? I know he won 3 miles at Lingfield, but it was a really slowly run race. Does he really stay 3 miles? I don't know.
Like I say, that's definitely something to prove. I mean, and the way I guess I thought in the Many Clouds Chase that I know he weakened out of things, but I thought that was, I don't know. Pardon?
Yeah, he was a good run. He was just sort of outpaced, wasn't he?
Yeah, outpaced and then
the
just
race.
weakened out of things and behind just much better horses. But yeah, the jury's kind of still out though. You do make a very fair point, though, Daryl, about Sam Brown and with this proper stamina sapping trip, if that's going to see the best of him. But I did think he was interesting at a big price. But I've mentioned half the field there, so yeah, stay tuned to see what I actually come down on. Andrew, back to you, please, for anything else from Haydock.
Yes, indeed. There's strangely the 1250 is not televised because it's a Grade 2 novices chase, and the one I like is where has it gone? Sorry, Hardy de Seuil, who only won a novices handicap chase at Hereford last time, but that was a right-handed track. He jumped out to his left, and he's very highly regarded by Jamie Snowden. I thought it was about 11 to 1, 12 to 1. I thought that was probably too big. And the last day is quite interesting in the 345. He normally goes well when fresh. He's won 5 from 11 when rested for at least 6 weeks. Last season, he just had 2 runs, disappointed in both, but he's been off for the best part of a year since. So you assume there was some sort of physical problem. Hopefully that's been sorted. And maybe the last day at a double-figure price can bounce back after a break.
Yeah, but you're not again pronouncing it correctly though, Mr. Matt. It's the last day. Another there for your pronunciation portfolio. The last day then in the 345 at Haydock, and also a horse that I also love, Hardy de Seuil in the 1250 at Haydock in that Grade 2. Daryl, anything else from Haydock from you, please?
Yeah, the 1250 nap of the day is Hardy de Seuil.
Oh, go on the Hardy.
Yeah, I thought he had a massive chance. I know he's got a bit to find on the ratings, but he's getting £6 weight allowance here for his 5-year-old age, and I thought going left-handed was definitely going to see him to best effect. I thought he's very much on the improve. I thought he won with plenty in hand the last day. If his jumping holds up, I can see this test really suiting him at Haydock. Soft ground won't be an issue. I thought he was a huge price at 11 to 1.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah, 11 to 1 then for Hardy de Seuil, who I just think he's Garlaw from last season, Mark II, with the Jamie Snowden 4 to 5-year-old chaser. I absolutely love him. So all three of us on the Hardy de Seuil bandwagon then in the 1250 at Haydock. And Daryl, did you have anything else from Haydock or anything from anywhere else?
No. I struggled this week to find bets, really. Only a couple.
Yeah, we've got graded races coming out of our ears, really, with short price. It's kind of fancied at the head of the market, so it's tricky. Andrew, yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm quite the opposite to Daryl. I fancy a lot of horses, so it's going to be sort of feast or famine, I think. So that probably means that we should side with Daryl's picks over mine, because I'm perhaps a little bit too confident going into this Saturday. But in the 340 at Lingfield, Class 2, 10 furlong fillies handicap, I really like Enfranchise for Charlie, Mark, Dave, Bob, and Willie Johnson, or whatever they're called nowadays. And she got stuck in the swamp when beaten here last time out, and from stall 9 will hopefully stay off that dead rail. In the 410 at Lingfield, RADETSKY, who really impressed me by pulling like a train but still winning here last time. And at Taunton, the 208, Dame de Soir for David Bridgewater, has won in January in each of the last 3 years. Now, I think Daryl tipped her up when she was 4th last time. I'm not blaming him for that defeat. But it was the first time cheap pieces experiment, but that perhaps failed. Coming back to 2 miles, perhaps went a bit too hard. Back up in trip. It had caught the eye at Cheltenham the time before, paying for chasing a very strong pace and doing well to finish 4th, I thought. So, Dame de Soir on the 208. But it's cracking weekend of action.
Yeah, that's it. We've got races coming out of our ears. So 3 bets then for Andrew, 2 from Lingfield, 1 from Taunton there in the 208. So all that is left for me to get then is your naps, please. So Daryl, your nap of the weekend, is it going to be Mr. Hardy? Oh, we've lost him. Or we've lost Daryl's audio.
Sorry, my mic was on mute. That was me. I think Hardy de Seuil, just simply on the basis that he's just such a big price. I mean, it's a massive price, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. 11 to 1. Yeah, Hardy de Seuil definitely looks overpriced considering the improvements. So yeah, it's a nap of the weekend for Daryl then. Number 5, Hardy de Seuil in the 1250 at Haydock. And Andrew, your nap of the weekend, please.
It was a coin toss between Hardy de Seuil and Enfranchise. And given Daryl's gone for 1, I'll go for Enfranchise in the 340 at Lingfield. But maybe a £2.50 each way double might be a good way to spend a £5 on Saturday.
These fivers, you're all about the fivers this weekend. The big money spender.
That's all I get paid for doing this pod, you see.
Exactly, yeah, justified. Still, you're getting a nice weekend away out of it anyway. So we will let you go sharpish. But that's Enfranchise number 14 in the 340 at Lingfield, and mine is going to be Garry Clermont in the 145 at Ascot. So that is all of us done then for this week's show. Cannot wait, of course, for the clash in the Clarence house. We hope that you enjoy it yourselves as well. Big thank you to the lads for all of their hard work. Big thank you to our sponsors, SBK, of course. Enjoy the weekend's action, and we will catch up with you again next week.